Have you ever stopped and wondered about the real scale of our impact on the planet? Today, we're going to get real about our human footprint. We'll explore the huge challenges we've created in the world's ecosystems, but also our incredible power to make things right.
Okay, so before we dive into our impact, we've got to understand the stage where this whole story plays out, our planet's amazing living systems.
You can think of an ecosystem as this super complex, interconnected team. Every single part, and I mean every part, from the tiniest bacteria to the biggest trees, has a super important role to play. It's this delicate dance between the living and the non-living, all working together.
And in this massive global ecosystem, well, humanity has kind of become the star player. Our actions, whether they're big or small, they have the power to influence the rules and, honestly, to change the outcome of the entire game.
So how exactly are we changing the game? Well, our biggest impacts work just like a line of dominoes. One little push can set off a huge chain reaction, tipping the delicate balance of the natural world. Let's take a look at the 5 biggest ways this is happening.
So here they are, the 5 key dominoes we're going to break down. Habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, overexploitation, and the introduction of invasive species. Let's start with the first one.
The first domino to fall is almost always habitat destruction. This is what happens when a natural environment is basically converted for us humans. Think of a forest being cleared for a new city, or a wetland getting drained to make way for a farm.
And the link here is it's so direct and it's stark. As we build out our cities and farms, we're pretty much serving an eviction notice to nature. Animals lose their homes, plants vanish forever, and this isn't just a local thing. It messes with the entire food web.
All right, the next domino, pollution. This is all about when we introduce harmful things into the environment, stuff that just doesn't belong there and can cause a ton of damage.
The really scary thing about pollution is that it travels. Plastic in the ocean doesn't just stay on one beach. It can float for thousands of miles, harming sea life the whole way. And it's the same with industrial chemicals. They can seep deep into the ground, poisoning the very soil and water an ecosystem depends on. Our third domino is a huge one. Climate change. The main thing driving this is our burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas. When we burn them, they release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases straight into the atmosphere.
Just picture these gases acting like a heat-trapping blanket wrapped around the Earth. As the planet gets warmer and warmer, we see the effects everywhere, right? Beautiful, vibrant coral reefs turn into these eerie white graveyards. And those crazy weather events like massive hurricanes and wildfires, they're becoming way more common and way more powerful.
Next up, we have overexploitation. It sounds like a fancy word, but it just means we're taking natural resources like fish or trees or wildlife out of the environment way faster than they can possibly replace themselves.
And this creates a serious imbalance that we can see all over the globe. Overfishing has caused whole fish populations, like the Atlantic cod, to just collapse. And when we log too many trees, it's not just about the trees themselves. It can cause massive soil erosion that makes it impossible for new forests to even grow back.
And that brings us to our final domino, invasive species. This happens when a species that isn't native gets introduced into a new place. A lot of the time, we humans are responsible, either by accident through travel and trade, or sometimes we even do it on purpose.
And these newcomers can be an absolute disaster. They show up with no natural predators, so they can just multiply like crazy. Think about zebra mussels. They've totally clogged up water pipes and crowded out native species all over the Great Lakes in North America. Or lionfish in the Atlantic. They're just wiping out native fish populations. They completely turn the local food web upside down.
So, looking at all those fallen dominoes, it's really easy to feel, pretty overwhelmed. It begs the question, doesn't it? Have we gone too far? Is the game already over?
The answer is absolutely not. We are at a turning point. Think about it. We knock the dominoes down, which means we also have the power to set them back up. This is where the story pivots from impact to action.
The story does not end with a bunch of fallen dominoes. While, yeah, we've been a powerful force of destruction, we can also be an incredible force for restoration, for protection, and for innovation. We absolutely have the power to turn this whole story around.
And this isn't just wishful thinking. This is a real roadmap of solutions that are happening as we speak. We're seeing this massive global shift to renewable energy, with solar and wind power costs just plummeting.
And you have communities all over the world coming together for huge reforestation projects, literally bringing forests back from the dead.
This right here, this really captures the huge shift in thinking we need. It's about moving away from just taking and moving towards stewardship. It's about making conscious choices to save what we have and to actively protect our vital natural spaces, from our little local parks to huge national reserves.
And all of this builds to our final point. It really all comes down to us recognizing our power, both as individuals and together, to make a really positive impact.
I think it's so important to remember this. One person deciding to recycle or use less water might feel like a tiny drop in the bucket, but when you multiply that small action by millions of people, you create a tidal wave of positive change.
So just to recap, we looked at those 5 fallen dominoes: habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, overexploitation, and invasive species.
These are the dominoes that have fallen, but we have the power to step in, to repair, and to rebuild. So the final question isn't really about what's been done. It's about what we're all going to do next. What is the first domino that you will choose to set right?